today's video, I'm practicing with current top 10 player Jannik Sinner. I actually had the honor of practicing and hitting some with him a little while back when we both were competing in the same ATP tournament. But without further ado, let's get into some clean ball striking. So for this practice, you might see that we're sharing the court with two other players, and this is because we're kind of just having a little slower warm-up session because Jannik is actually playing a singles match later on today against none other than Sir Andy Murray. And the people that we're sharing the court with is actually the guy next to me on the far left, Andrea Vavasori. I actually played against him later in the week in doubles, him and Pedro Martinez from Spain, together with my partner Nino Serdarusic. Unfortunately, I didn't have the opportunity to film that one, but yeah, let's focus a little bit on this guy closest to us. You can really see this kind of like his movement when we're playing like this and just kind of grooving, that he's constantly, even though he's not swinging through fully, he's constantly moving like forward and backwards in his movement, putting that body weight forward, like really pushing off forward. Like all these forms is just so, I don't know, textbook when it comes to body weight and weight transfer. And as I mentioned, I actually did have a longer practice with Jannik, so if you haven't checked that one out, make sure to check the one after. It's we play a little more point play. This one is more like with the movement and kind of just rallying and kind of grooving, and yeah, just working on getting ready for some more match play in the afternoon. But as mentioned, you know, Jannik, growing up as a skier, I feel like he's just so good at his kind of body weight control. And really, as we're hitting it, especially down the line, I think like it is a lot easier, obviously, to time with your body movement going down the line. And I kind of have some issues that sometimes my kind of weight transfer becomes a little too circular. But just really looking at Jannik and trying to copy him as much as possible. But like, he does such a good job of always kind of sucking the ball into him, because you need to get the ball like a little bit closer to you, preferably by moving forward into the ball in order to swing straight forward. And that really is something that is very difficult as you kind of increase the pace here. Like I have the issue sometimes that it becomes a little too circular, and too circular usually happens when you kind of time the ball a little too early, like that one for example. I just take it a little too early, and because of that, the only way I can accelerate is by doing a little more circular acceleration there. But that's where I feel like Jannik is just so good at just constantly letting the ball come into him in order for him to accelerate it forward. And that's really like the biggest thing when it comes to, I've always had a lot of people asking me from our previous practice, like what's the biggest difference between, you know, me and Jannik, for example. And I would say the absolute biggest difference, because both of us can handle the same pace, like, and hit very hard balls back and forth, but the biggest difference is changing the pace and still like maintaining the right shot selection and everything, because that's where it becomes really difficult when you get like balls a little harder or slower, and constantly being able to timing that movement and letting that ball come into you so you can constantly put your body weight behind it and like really grip the ball with weight and heaviness. And that just becomes increasingly difficult as people, you know, increase the pace and a lower pace and a faster pace, and obviously around you becomes a lot more difficult there. And that's really something that, I don't know, I feel like Jannik is almost like picture perfect when it comes to getting that ball into you so you can put your body weight behind every shot. And that's really something that I'm working on improving in order to, you know, get more constant heavy balls, is that I need to be a little calmer when the tempo is higher, and just trusting that when the ball comes into me, I have the power behind it in order to kind of stay behind it and swing through it forward more. And that's really where all my like fitness training and everything has been around, you know, getting strong in the legs in order to have kind of a more solid ground in order to control that pace more and more. But yeah, just really grooving here, and as mentioned, like Sinner is just really good here. And as we're moving into more of a full court hitting session here, you can see that as I get balls a little more around me, it becomes a little increasingly difficult. You can see these shots I kind of mistimed it a little bit, taken too early. That's why I'm kind of cheating, hitting the ball to the left more, because it's always a lot more difficult to hit the balls down the line with weight if you kind of time the ball correctly. So then you can always cheat by taking it too early. You can always kind of accelerate cross court, and that's kind of what ended up happening to me there a lot of times. But you can really see that as soon as the balls kind of come around you, like you have to move a little more sideways, it becomes increasingly difficult to time the ball forward and backwards. But yeah, after hitting some, we kind of move into some serve and returns here, just really trying to kind of find that groove. And obviously serving is something that Jannik and his team is constantly looking to develop and working on a lot, because I feel like maybe that's his, I wouldn't say flaw, but like his least great shot that he has right now. But he's constantly improving that. But obviously returning is, I want to say, one of his absolute fortes, like on the forehand and back, and he's just so good at kind of timing the ball coming into him. And you saw that one, even though he kind of accelerated too early on it, he managed to kind of like hold a little bit with his wrist before he accelerated in order to get it, like to suck the ball into him a little bit more, so he can really accelerate forward. You can really see, like, if you're looking at his returns here, how well he is at just kind of letting that like ball come into him and then pushing off with those legs in order to just really get that effortless power that we're all kind of after. Got him there with the slice out wide ace there, but you can see here, like, these returns are what I would say is one of the most difficult returns in tennis. Getting wide serves on your forehand and really like sucking it into you and then accelerating out from those. And he's just constantly so good at getting that ball into him and then just accelerating forward with his body movement, as I keep mentioning here. But yeah, we get into some cross-court rally here, and yeah, this is probably what I want to say is Jannik's forte, you know, with his backhand. Just, I don't know, he just has that really kind of like such a fluent follow through. Like you really just see that like his whole power is just going through there with absolutely zero breaks into it. Like it really just accelerates through the whole swing, and he just gets, you know, crazy acceleration combined with like accuracy on these backhands, just stepping into them and like full swing in here. The same thing there with the forehand, and then these backhands are, yeah, he's just really gripping those. But you can see here, obviously clocking that backhand down the line there. But at this tempo, like, I'm pretty comfortable when it is kind of like this constant tempo, the same tempo over and over again. But obviously, like when we start getting into movement, really clean forward down the line there, obviously. But as we get into more movements, that's where it becomes so much more difficult, like with a slower ball, faster ball, and just kind of finding that right shot selection over and over again is really where the biggest difference is between a top 10 player like Jannik and a subpar player like myself. But either way, such a valuable time and really inspiring hitting with Jannik and the whole team. They're always just super friendly, and yeah, had a great time out there. So that's actually everything from this practice session. We only had a little shorter one because he actually had a match in the afternoon. I think he played night session against the one and only Andy Murray, where unfortunately maybe I didn't do the best job of getting warmed up for that one, but he did end up losing in 3 sets there. But if you haven't had enough of some tennis gameplay with me and Jannik Sinner, I actually posted a video a little over a year ago, I think, where I had a little longer session with him. So make sure to check that one out if you haven't. But hey, thanks a lot for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you haven't done so already, make sure to subscribe to the channel. It's going to be a lot of tennis stuff coming out now as I'm starting to get pretty healthy in my ankle, so I can start competing some again. And yeah, there's just a lot of stuff on the calendar now. So make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on that. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Ciao.